Freedom.
Freedom is a bug. Originally, the
Freedom
purpose of
over
this
fame.
project was to
Major Kusanagi.
Freedom over
Section 6, position
cycle
and ready
stays
to
the
move
same.
in. Major, are you there?
Yeah, I heard you.
I'm surprised you can hear anything. What's with all the noise in your brain today?
Must be a loose wire.
Alright, hello everyone. My name is Andres Trevino. I'm a cybersecurity researcher. Today I'm going to be showing you how to actually crack passwords and what that all involves in today's world. Before we start this video, I want to go ahead and show you our new updated website. You could reach us at cyberready.world. We just made this about a month ago. It still needs a lot of work, but we do offer some services here. And this is mainly just a portfolio, just kind of things that's going on, some projects we've been working on, and then you could find the rest of the YouTube videos there. But yes, you could reach us at cyberready.world, and if you have any questions, just get a hold of us here. Thanks. Okay, to better help explain this all, I went ahead and made a presentation. So this is called The Art of Cracking Passwords. So I went ahead and put this together. It's not too long, but it's basically going to describe everything at a very high level. I will be talking about some keywords, and if they don't make sense to you, you can always do some researching on your own. I'm not going to explain everything in this video just because it will take too long. This is just supposed to be a quick informal video. So password generation. So many systems store passwords in a hash format rather than plain text. So whenever we're talking about this, if you're making an account, let's say that your account is password is love123. It doesn't show up as this in the database because this is plain text. It actually shows up as this string of generated numbers and letters that we can see here. So this is called a hash. Now, hashes are depended on the algorithm that you use. For this example, I use SHA-256, and that is also what I'm going to brute force later in the video. But we could see here that this is the actual hash, and this is what it looks like. So the security standard in today's world is AES, which is Advanced Encryption Standard, and then also salting before hashing. And before AES, we used DES, which was a federal standard in 1977. That quickly changed because technology has rapidly increased, and these attacks become possible, which I'll show you later. And so basically around 2001, when a bunch of passwords are being brute forced and stuff, NIST, which is the National Security Institute of Standards and Technology, they came up with a new algorithm to keep all of our devices secure. Now encryption is used for everything. It's used to send a message, it's used to create an account, it's used to protect what you're doing online, like your actual data and packets as you're browsing the internet. So all of this is very important, and it's going to continue to evolve. You could see that in 2001, this is when the last time we made a big upgrade, but I believe here soon we might have to make more changes to the algorithm as quantum computers become more prevalent. Alright, so kind of just looking at everything, where do they use it? So they use it for, let's say, your bank portal, or sorry, let me go over the bank portal, your bank information for your online banking. That's going to be hashed. Medical information, that's also going to be hashed. Not only are things hashed, there's probably a password on it for, like, let's say you have a PDF file of recent surgery that you've had at OSF, which is just because of the random hospital picture I have here. It's probably going to be encrypted in a way that you can't just view the picture. If they were to get hacked, you would have to basically break the password. Now, this is an example of just kind of visually what's happening. So here we might insert love123, and then out we got a random string of whatever, and we could represent that with like a ball, and then this is the algorithm machine. and then so we put the paper in, and then it goes through the algorithm machine, and then we get the ball out. Now this is the actual encryption that is being used for SHA-256, the actual math portion of it. I'm not going to go into the big details of everything. Let me move this really quick. I'm not going to go into the big details of everything because I'm not a math major, cybersecurity major. But it takes the whole world to basically secure devices today, so that's very important. All right, let me move this over. All right, so why do we hash passwords? So hashing helps us protect the confidentiality of the user's password in the event of a data compromise. So let's say that my account got hacked, or let's say that I'm banking somewhere and my password was love123. Let's say that bank gets hacked and their database gets compromised. They won't really know my password unless if they reverse engineer or basically reverse the hash, which is what I'm going to be showing you. So also, storing anything in plain text is not modern security anymore. Everything should be encrypted in some way, just because we need that modern privacy. And not only that, people that are handling things and data particularly, so whenever there's like a data admin creating an account or resetting your password, they will only be able to see the hash usually. So that kind of adds another layer of protection for end users as well, just because there might be someone high level working with your information. And then not only that, hashing passwords is just the industry standard as we're entering the digital age. All right, let me move this. So this is actually what I'm going to be showing you. We're actually going to be cracking some passwords in this video as well. So let me first kind of describe how we're going to do this. So we're going to be using Hashcat, which is a cracking tool, open source hacking tool, also used by cybersecurity professionals. Very similar to John the Ripper. It uses your GPU and also your CPU to mine, or not to mine, but to break the hashes or reverse engineer the hashes. So for this attack, we're going to be using a word list. I have about a 20 gig file of a word list, which has a few million passwords or unique passwords and usernames that it'll try to go against. So passwords must align with the passwords that we have on our word list. For instance, if we don't have love123 in the word list, it's not going to show up. But we have millions to choose from. So you could also brute force, but brute forcing takes a lot more time because it's going through each mathematical possibility, because all this is just a math algorithm, how we're encrypting everything, right? So theoretically there is 100% chance, right? Because it'll go through every single possibility until it finds it. Now, if you're brute forcing one account, that could take years depending on how good the password is, or it could take a few minutes depending, once again, on how good the password is. So this is just kind of showing you and reinforcing why why having a good password is important, and why having MFA is important, and also why you don't want to reuse passwords. Because my word list that I'm using, or for example, I use RockU as well on top of it. All it is just a leaked database of people who have already lost their passwords. So we use that in hope that, humans make common mistakes. They reuse passwords. A lot of people think of the same passwords as well, right? So we try to use previous exploits against new databases. Okay, so let's go ahead and correct some passwords. So you can see here that I have Hashcat already set up. I am on Windows 11 just because the drivers work better for the graphics cards. You could do this on bare metal using Kali Linux, which is what I would recommend if you're doing this for real. But just for security purposes, we're just doing it quickly on here just for demonstration. So let's go ahead and show you guys what I've cracked so far, right? So this is what we got so far. So recently I just cracked Jason 420, and I love me 123. And you can see here that we are using SHA-2 256 to crack. We're using a word list and straight password. So here's what I'm using. You can use your own word list, which is what I would recommend. Each hacker or cybersecurity person has their own word list that they personally use. You could do brute force with this as well, but that would take too long. We're just going to show you fast and quick examples. So, okay, so just to kind of show you here, here we have a SHA-256 encryption online tool, right? So let's say that we want our password to be Jason420 because we want to see what it would show up as a hash. We can see, boom, there it is, 093. That's what it ends in, right? So you can see that we've actually cracked this hash already, and this was the key for it. All right, so let's keep going. We'll do I love me 123. We can also see that this ends in 375D. 375D. Okay, so now how does this all work, right? So let's say that you gotta reverse engineer, right? That's how you gotta think about it, right? Let's say that the password is I love you 56. So I hacked into the bank, right? I'm trying to get into this account because they have millions of dollars, and this is what I see. This is the hash that I see, right? They're using SHA-256. So me as a hacker, this is what I would do, right? I got my hash cap. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the clipboard, and you can see that it's going ahead and gonna copy that hash. And I'm gonna go ahead and start reverse engineering it. This will take some time. No. Depending on how strong the password is, you can see that we've instantly cracked it here. So what we'll do is we'll close out of this, and let me open up the file format of the output really quick. It should just be test actually, yeah. So let's open up the text file. There it is, I love you 56. And you could see that lines up with the 5B. So we had this in our word list, so that's why we were able to crack it. So let's do something a little bit harder, like something more make-believe or more realistic, I should say. So I'm going to make my password my favorite movie, let's just say, in theory, right? And then a year, let's just say I was born in 1960, and we'll put an exclamation point just because that's usually a common standard. So let's go ahead and okay, yep, it did change. So here's our new hash, right? So once again, I have hacked into the bank, and I am trying to figure out what this hash is so I can use it to log into the bank, because I would have to actually enter this on the app, right? I can't just enter this. So let's go back. And we can see that it's already good to go. We're gonna go ahead and reverse engineer it. Now this one should take a little bit more time. The last one was pretty instant. I am cracking with a, so we did exhaust the RockU text file, but this is whenever another 15 gig file of just passwords kicks in. So we are using a 4070 Ti here, and we're going to be talking about GPUs more later with the cracking, but having a better graphics card does make the cracking process a lot quicker. So I'm going to pause the video, and then we're going to come back here in about 9 minutes, and we're going to see if I can crack this password. And let's go ahead and check the password again. So we're trying to get Batman 1960 exclamation point. Okay, so we are back. So Took about 7 minutes, but we could see that that was not in our word list, so we would probably have to brute force that password. So let's go ahead and try another one. Robert 72. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this back over, close this, bring it to our clipboard real quick, and let's start. Oh, that one instantly got cracked. So let me go back to test. Robert 72. So it should end in FBE1, right? Let's go back. Yep. All right, so Robert 1940. Let's give this one a go. Okay, so once again, we have hacked the bank in theory, and this is the hash that we found on the database. So let's go ahead and try to reverse engineer it so we can find this victim's password and log into their bank. So you can see we instantly exhaust the RockU text file with the 4070 Ti, which is pretty crazy because before I had the 1070 Ti, and sometimes I would take up to 8 or 10 minutes. So I'm not for sure how many millions of passwords that the 4070 Ti can do, but I know it's a lot. And you can see if you can keep hitting S, it's going through each of the candidates where it's just trying all these numbers, or not these numbers, sorry, all these different passwords. So these are all different kind of passwords that I have in the RockU text file. The file is actually so big that it won't even open on Windows. Okay, while that last password's going, we're gonna go ahead and hop back to the presentation to kind of talk more about all of this and how it actually all works. So other ways with that we could have cracked the password is we could have used brute force attack. Brute force attack uses trial and error method, so it will eventually guess it, but it will take a lot of time. It could take years, it could take decades, it could take 6 months. It just depends on the system and the complexity of the actual password. So another popular method is a rainbow table attack, which that's just pre-computed attack. So let's say that I know that it's SHA-256. There's certain things that make it compute in the algorithm. So knowing that, you can go ahead and try to guess it off of that. But using a rainbow table, they're usually really specific and it's not a good universal tool. That's why a lot of people use the word list and the brute force attack. We use a word list in our example. So that involves of having a list of potential passwords and dictionary words or common phrases of known passwords that have previously existed in other databases. So we're just doing random guess really, because that's going to be the quickest way to really get the password, because brute forcing is not going to be it, because it's going to have to go through every single possible password. So brute force attacks are generic and try all combinations. Word lists are more adaptable and customizable. So let's talk about using GPUs to crack the password. So this is an example of a 1080 GTX 1080 done by the South Wales University. So we could see here, let's say that we have a password. Usually passwords are between 9 and 12 characters. So let's say that we do upper and lower case usually. You can see it would take about 2.9 years to brute force it, right? But this graphics card came out, man, I was a freshman in high school, so it came out probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So in Moore's law, right, technology doubles, and they say Moore's law is dead now, that technology is like tripling or maybe quadrupling every year now. So this is going to change a lot as more GPUs come out. And so a lot of these hacking systems, hackers have devoted computers where they might have maybe 4 of the best graphics cards that come out that year, right? That way they can quickly brute force these passwords. So why are graphics cards so good at cracking passwords? It's because they can perform parallel processing, and that makes it very good for computing and computing multiple things at once. So it's going to be significantly faster than a CPU. So most of the time people don't even mine with the CPU or reverse engineer the hash with the CPU. They just use it off the GPU. So GPUs have a high hash rate, meaning that they can do multiple password combinations per second. You can see here with this graphics card that was 6 years old that it could do 30 million attempts per second. I can only imagine what the 4070 Ti could do, but I know it's a lot. So also GPUs are used a lot because they're widely available. You can game off of them and they're a pretty cost-effective tool. The 4070 Ti that I have right now for this demonstration goes for about $850, which is fairly cheap compared to what you could do with it, right? So that's why it's a popular tool for hackers and cybersecurity professionals alike. So how can we increase hashing, right? Because we just saw that I can break some hashes and you could brute force it, right? So these are some things that we can do to basically help secure modern hashing. So we need to make sure that we're using good algorithms like AES 128-bit. We do not want to be using older algorithms like MD4 or SHA-1. And it's going to be important to constantly stay on top of technology. That's why cybersecurity professionals do just take care of it, just because they got to be the ones to make sure that the encryption that we're using is modern and it's good. So another popular method is to salt it. So right before you use your encryption hash, you will do another hash on top of it, or a salt. And this will be good because it will prevent rainbow table attacks, because those are going to be pre-computed. So if it's SHA-256, we know that I love you was the same hash every single time. But if they salted it, the same password could have multiple hashes. And this is very important, because then it's going to be harder to reverse engineer, like I was showing you. So another thing that you could do is apply multiple rounds of encryption in the algorithm. So this is going to be more resource intensive, because every time you log in, the computer on the back end of it basically has to reverse that hash and line it up, right? So you always got to think of that as well, but setting it for more loops will definitely increase the security. So here's an example of increasing the loops. So we're going to use SHA-256, and then we're going to salt it, and then we're going to add 1,000 iterations on it. So that means that we're going to do this algorithm 100,000 times, back to back with the math, because it will always alter the number, right, every time you do an iteration. And then also just using MFA, right? So that's why MFA is huge, because if I do brute force the password, or a hacker does, or whatever happens, right, there's going to be another layer of security, which is going to be the MFA. So that's going to be a Google Authenticator, a phone number. It could be multiple different things. So another thing is just staying up to date, doing security audits, and just making sure you're staying informed with the newest trends, because they're always changing. All right, so thank you. That's basically the whole presentation and everything that I have to show you. So yeah, you can check out our website at cyberready.world. Before I end things, we're gonna check and see if the other password got broken. So it looks like that one got exhausted as well. So just for the finale here, we're going to do bears. Alright, so let's go back to our hashcat. Get the clipboard down. Reverse engineer. We can close this. So it wasn't in RockU text file. We're moving to the next. We'll go ahead and let this run. And then at the very end here, I'll do a little finale where I will I'll see if we even got that right, and then I will also try to brute force it. I probably won't actually finish it, but we can at least get an estimate of how long it would take with this graphics card, because if I brute force it, it's 100% guaranteed going to be that password, right? But I will be back once it's done. Okay, so coming back, it looks like we've exhausted all options on that one as well. So let me go ahead and just make sure everything's working. We're gonna just do the bears because that should be a pretty easy one. I'm hoping. We're just going to keep it back to what it was, and we're going to go ahead and attempt to do the brute force just to see how much time it would actually take, because we could definitely get it. I just don't really care to. So yeah, everything looks good. All right. It's gonna go ahead and auto tune everything. There we go. One of the word lists is too small, not the other. Check the status. All right, the time is estimated isn't too bad, so let me go ahead and these right. Brute force. Yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead and let this go, and then we will be back and we will see how the brute force works. Okay, so we're back, and I had to fix a little bit of the char things just because that's going to be like the guesses, and you could see that for this is going to take 2.5 hours to guess this password. So we're not going to do it for the video just because it's going to take too long to brute force, but you kind of get the premise that this is how you could basically brute force a password. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out cyberready.world. I'll have more posts on there as well. Some days I just like to write articles about what I'm doing instead of making a full-fledged video. So staying on this website will kind of keep you up to date with everything. And then if you have any questions, let me know below, or of course, let me know on the website. Thank you.